When everything we consume is the worst thing ever by some mouth breather on the internet, how is anything truly the worst thing ever? Time for the only podcast to officially create a list of the worst movies ever made. The only one. For real. Worst movies ever.
Worst movies ever. Welcome to another episode of Worst Movies Ever, the podcast you never know when it's going to drop. Today, it's not just me. I have my buddy Vaughn from Motion Picture Massacre on the episode, and he brought a movie that, I don't know if you know this, Vaughn, is very similar to the movie we watched the last time you were on the podcast, Slime City.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did you think of that in any way when you picked the Abomination today?
No, not really. I threw it out to you, and I know it's a film that people talk about, but it's not talked about enough, I don't think. And since your show is kind of like on the precipice of like that line of like indie madness to like, you know, the weird kind of good shit, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's throw this out there, and I've been trying to get other podcasts to cover it for years, because I think it's something really worth talking about. But no, like I know what you're talking about. It's this kind of lo-fi fucking horror, you know, classic, that like people kind of, you know, when you talk about like late 80s, like mid to late 80s kind of SOV films, it's kind of up there in the you know, in the genre, even though this film isn't really an SOV film, but you know what I mean.
I mean, it's close enough. It's shot on super 8mm for the most part. And there are a couple insert shots that look clearly like they shot it on some video stock.
Yeah, to clean up the fill time and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of those films where it was shot on film, edited on video, and it's got this really unique look to it. And it was really straight to the VHS when it came out. So it was like Slime City. Slime City was shot on 16 or 8mm, and which, you know, like I may have gotten a small theatrical release in New York, but
yeah, I believe it did.
It got really straight to video, and it's just one of these things where it's like, yeah. And the thing is, you were thinking about this right as you said that. I was thinking about this, that it's kind of a combination. If a director, I wish never made anything after he made this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's certain people that I love that have only made one film and one film only, and you really wish that they made something, got the chance to make something else. And Brett McCormick, Rick McCormick, went on after this to make a bunch of just weird straight to video kind of action and fucking just Trek, and like tried to back in like I think maybe the 9th. When was Replicator put out? Like
he put out a few fairly notable movies, like movies that you would know if you were into like more of the direct to video, straight to like cable action fare.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like he went from this to like working with like Joe Estevez and was it Dan Haggerty and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then he like in the mid 90s he went back to the shot on video thing with like Replicator, and you're like, oh, where'd you go? Stop making movies. You know, it's just like the guy who did Slime City. He continued to make low budget shit, and some of that's kind of hit and miss. Mm-hmm. But then like in the 2000s, like he took a long break and he came back in like the early 2000s with Slime City Massacre, and that movie's fucking shit. And it's like, dude, seriously, just stop when the fucking getting's good. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to go that far, but it's funny you say all that, but the thing that struck me is halfway through watching this, and we haven't even gotten to the plot of this movie yet, is that the plots are also sort of similar. There's a man who has been invaded by some other being, and driven to kill beyond his wants and needs.
Sure, yeah.
So these two movies, oddly, I had to bring it up at the beginning of this episode.
Maybe I should write this. Maybe I should write this down and tell my therapist about this on Friday when I talk to her. Like, I keep bringing up fucking films about men being inhabited by some kind of host that wants to kill everything around him. You think that's something wrong with me? It's like,
listeners, look at the call number, leave a message, psychoanalyze Vaughn all you want. It's perfectly up to your own abandon. You could do it at your own will. But I'm really glad you picked this movie because, as we were kind of saying off air, this has been a movie that, I mean, I've enjoyed in the past, but I haven't seen in a minute, man.
Like I said to you, it's probably one of like the top 20 films that I love. Like it's a film that I can watch all the time. It's not something I show somebody like when we talked to my show a couple weeks back with Doom Generation. It's not a film that I will show a girlfriend at the beginning of the relationship, but it's definitely something I would show like 8 to 6 months in, like, and just kind of like as soon as they start understanding, like, getting used to me, I'm like, all right, let's watch something really weird. Like, and it's like
The Abomination. You want to watch? Hey, baby, we're going to sit down for a nice night. Do you want to watch a movie where a guy pitchforks actual animal guts into like a paper mache fucking puppet?
Yeah. It's like showing a girlfriend Necromantic and forgetting about the bunny skinning scene. And that coming up and her running out of the room screaming. Like, okay.
Or the broom handle.
Yeah, that too. Well, I've had girlfriends who are fine with that. Once it comes to that bunny skinning scene, they fucking freak.
Oh, well.
Like, yeah, they're fine with the sex scene. They look at me weird, but they're fine with the whole like, menage a trois via dead guy sex scene. But they're like, I can't stand. Why would you make me watch a film where a bunny got killed? I'm like, really? It's a bunny.
So the Abomination, the movie we're talking about this episode, as Vaughn had said, made in 1986 by Brett McCormick. I don't know what version you watched. I didn't have access to the bleeding skull version of this. I had to watch the Internet Archive version.
I watched this on YouTube. It's on YouTube. What is it? I think Video Vengeance released it on Blu-ray.
Yep.
And I think I have that upstairs in the attic, and I just didn't want to go upstairs. I knew it was on YouTube, so I was like, all right, I'll watch that one.
How much better does the Video Vengeance version look? Because the actual trailer for the Video Vengeance version still looks like dog shit.
Like they used from the masters, but the masters are all VHS masters. So it's like, how can you really improve a VHS master? Like, and that's the shitty part is like, if he still had the original Super 8, I think that probably would have been, easy to remaster that and put it out that way. But Brett didn't keep the Super 8. Once he replicated to video, I guess he got rid of it or he lost it. He's really anal about this film, like with releases and stuff like that. Like for the longest time, he would only let it be released on VHS, and like I think Video Vengeance was the first company to actually get a Blu-ray release of it.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I'm very happy the film isn't shot at all at night because God, it would have looked awful.
Oh, it would have been those shots in the house.
Yes,
definitely.
The house is a little dark. Yeah. But it's still manageable. And you've seen a lot of films that were shot either on VHS or shot on film and then edited on VHS that have scenes where they're in the dark, and that the directors really aren't capable of shooting or lighting a scene like that. And you barely see anything. And even like nowadays, the way things are when people are a lot of companies, there's 2 or 3 companies now that are releasing VHS to Blu-ray, and you can't fix that. And it just looks terrible regardless of what it is.
You're not bringing that back, brother.
No.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there were points in this movie when I was watching it, it reminded me a lot of Andy Milligan's movies, just the look because the 8mm.
Sure.
There were a lot of scenes that mind you, far more interesting things were happening in this movie than any Andy Milligan movie I ever watched.
Stop that.
Come on. You know this to be true.
Carnage.
Search
blood.
your feelings. Search your feelings. You know this to be true.
I mean, yeah, but that's a hard one for me. But no, I get it. But the thing is, at least Andy knew that, like, he'd blow out the fucking, he'd put every goddamn light he could find in a dark scene and make him, blow out the fucking the picture. But still, he understood that, even though like he was shooting films by the seat of his pants.
Right. Just get people to scream at each other. Who cares what this looks like? Just get people to scream at each other the entire time.
Yeah.
So The Abomination, shot on Super 8mm by Brett McCormick. The plot of this gimmick, and please interject if you feel that I'm going off course with this thing or I'm not doing a sufficient job of this. Recalling the events that led him to a therapist, Cody Lee has a cancerous tumor crawl into his mouth that resided in his religious nut of a mother. And after that happens, it and its children excise themselves from him and drive him to kill everyone, literally every last motherfucker on earth, for its sustenance.
No, that's pretty close to what it is, yeah.
It's pretty close to what it is.
I don't know if you call it. I always feel the Abomination, the figure that is he's feeding people to, is one big thing that's just inhabited his whole house. Like it just.
Well, eventually, I think that's what the insinuation is. But he was definitely like vomiting out multiple things that he's putting all over the house.
Well, it's like he isn't accidentally putting like. They escape from him, and then they just hide in places. Like the first time it happens to him, it hides under his bed.
No, he puts it there like a fucking booger, like a booger under a chair.
Well, yeah, like he's hiding, like he's hiding half a sandwich from his mother because she doesn't want him eating or something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
And it's just it gets the things like this film starts. I don't know how your copy started. But it starts with him constantly waking up from a nightmare, and we see very small glimpses of the murders that are going to happen soon.
I'm going to argue with you about small glimpses. It's more like they edited all the great footage and put it in the first 5 minutes of the film, ruining the rest of the movie.
And like that's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of kills me about the film. Like I put this on Letterboxd like as 4 stars. It would be a 5-star film to me if there were certain things that were missing, like this opening sequence.
Yeah,
like
I absolutely agree.
If it was just him, it was the voiceover of him and the other guy talking and him waking up from a nightmare, it would be fantastic. And then there's another, like later in the film, there's a scene where we see like the mother's death again. We see he intercuts another couple of the murders into other things. So we get closer and closer at the end of the film, which I think kind of ruins those scenes, constantly bringing them back up. And it's like, okay, like I understand that he probably felt like he had to do 90 minutes because this is like 87 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that was the standard at that time.
Yeah. So I think he was just trying to fill time. But like besides that, it would be a 5-star film for me if you had those small little edits removed. Like, and sometimes that voiceover, kind of the first time I saw it, I remember watching this with a friend, and they were like, "What's the voice? What's that all about?" I'm like, well, it makes sense as the film goes along. They're like, it's just very jarring. It just comes out of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, I understand, but as we watched the film, they started getting it, and like you get to the end credits, and the voiceover is still going over the end credits, and it goes into the very like past the credits and explains, gives you the dun dun dun, and you're like, oh, okay. And they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm like, yeah, but it does kind of disappear in the middle of the film. But it's like, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, you definitely know he needed something to explain this a little better. So like we have the voiceover between him and the therapist. And it's like, oh, okay, that works. Like, yeah.
It really does feel almost like an afterthought, a lot of the voiceover. But, I'm going to hold your horses here. We have a format on this podcast that we go about here, Vaughn. You've already done your verdict. I'm going to rein you in. I know this podcast can go off the rails very quickly if I don't rein this in. We have a format on this podcast.
Fuck. Sorry. Yeah.
I just love yelling at my guests. That's all I am. I'm just a fucking wrangler, just sitting and roping in my guests. The verdict, you've already given it nearly a 5-star movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say similar to the last movie we watched for the show, Slime City, that concerns a man driven to kill by forces outside him. This is a fucking banger. This is also, I agree with you. This is this isn't as good as Slime City. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
It's not as good. It is very successful in its own way, the same way Slime City is. For an 8mm movie, I quite enjoyed it for what it was. a movie that strove to be more than its limitations and really pushed the envelope when it came to practical gore on an absolute zero budget. This is a big time thumbs up. And if you guys that are listening to the podcast have never heard of this or never seen it, please seek it out. It is a wonderful piece of no budget schlock.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
it was this part of I'm not sure about this. I could be way off base on this. Was this part of the video nasties back in the day?
I don't think so. I don't think it got to the UK.
Yeah, this thing is fucking gross, dude.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for a movie back then, even for the standard, like 86 at that point, we were getting all the Friday 13th and the Nightmares on Elm Streets and a lot of that shit.
This is like a regional horror film. It was shot in Texas. I think McCormick, it was released around where he lived first, and I think it kind of slowly kind of gathered a mainstay and kind of extended, just like with Slime City. Slime City was was released in New York, and it's when people started seeing it. And I think the good thing about Slime City, I think, because it got picked up with Trauma, and Trauma kind of went fucking expanded it everywhere.
Yeah,
but this film must have did well enough because like we've talked about already with him, is that he went right from like this low budget, no budget film to shooting like direct to video action films with like shoeless celebrities.
Yeah.
So it must have did very, very well in the States at least.
I remember that VHS cover. It was absolutely disgusting. And of course you were going to pick this gimmick up if you were a ghoul.
Yeah, definitely.
Having said that, let's get to the good, the bads, and the what the fucks. We'll start with them goods.
What is good?
Metric shit ton of fucking gore in this fucking movie. If you're a fucking gore hound and a goddamn ghoul, this movie in every way satisfies that itch. When the first time you saw this movie, what'd you think of how gross this fucking thing was?
I was really kind of taken aback because I was kind of a very young, kind of snot-nosed kid when I saw it the first time. And like there's scenes where like people lose their arms. There's a throat slitting scene in the film. In the way our protagonist acts the whole time, he wears sunglasses the whole time and just is malicious about the things he does, and he's doing it because he feels like he has no choice,
compulsion to do this.
It's that whole kind of thing of like I have to keep painting the wall or somebody's going to show up, that kind of thing, and that's what he's doing. He keeps feeding this thing because it keeps telling him it has to feed. It's very much like a gnarlier version of fucking Little Shop of Horrors without the playfulness. But like it starts out fine. Like it's always interesting when that film starts, where you just have this average guy who's dealing with his overly religious mother, and she's just kind of like that. She's that very typical kind of obsessed with watching the televangelists on TV, and she's
never leaves the house.
She's got something wrong, and she knows it's cancerous because she probably has been told. And she's like, there's a scene where she's still smoking. And you're like, what
just
the fuck?
puffing the fuck away, going up to the TV, holding on to the TV as the guy prays and all this other bullshit.
And she horks up this big red fucking viscous pussing pulsating fucking thing and shucks it in the garbage.
Just on top. Doesn't cover it up. It doesn't like call the doctor to tell them that this is taken care of. Yeah. She's just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's move on with our fucking day.
Yeah, and she just keeps going back. And when that starts, when you see this fucking gross fucking thing, she spits it up and she's holding her hand, she dumps it in the trash. And you're like, oh, God. And then he finds it. And for some reason, he thinks it's a good idea to play with it. I don't know why. And he automatically
sees this thing and he's like, oh, what?
What's this? Yeah. And he kind of knows it's his mother's tumor because it's automatically in his head, like, what else could this be?
Yeah.
Right. And then it automatically attacks him and forces itself down his throat and he starts getting sick. And then it starts, like you were saying, he starts spitting up pieces of it and they just start inhabiting places in the house. And then they start kind of fucking with his head and telling him to go kill people. He's very hesitant, but once he gets out there and starts doing it, you're like, just starts killing everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't turn back. Like a switch is flipped and he becomes just a straightforward, no nonsense, no emotion killer, and he's just annihilating fucking everything with extreme prejudice in the most grotesque ways possible on literally 10 cents.
And like whatever money they had was put into some of the violence. Like the throat slits like are really gross and look really realistic. The arm, when these people lose arms or legs, it's like you can see the bone in the middle. Like they try their best, but it's probably like a plastic stump from like a Halloween store that they just
absolutely is, dude. When they're doing the arms, you can see where they're holding on to the stump.
Yeah. And it's just gussied up with fake blood to make, and because the way the film has been, and that was kind of a thing, if I remember correctly, reading from interviews with him, was that the reason why he went to video was because it was an aesthetic. It helped with the effects. It made everything look a little more fucked up in the video format, like in the late 80s. So it kind of helped with the kind of the crunchiness and the fucking, the no money aspect of it. Because the fucking monster is this, it's like it's
a puppet.
It's a puppet. It's a big fucking paper mache puppet covered in fake blood. And it's just all over the place. And like most of the time, it's not even like there's not even anything there. There's somebody underneath, like underneath the stove, pushing the stove up, or just fucking slamming doors. Like his friends are just shoved in the pantry, just fucking slamming shit. And but the gore is pretty fun. Like that's the one thing that kind of really appeals to me, is that it was like so gory and weird that it's the point of like cartoonish.
Well, it's very unapologetic. What's your first good you got on this movie?
My first good, I actually like the acting in this film. Our main actor's performance, I think, is the best. I think everybody else is kind of goofy, and you can even tell that like either he didn't shoot this with like exact sound, he didn't shoot this with like boom mic sound, because everybody's dubbed.
Well, absolutely zero sync sound, and we'll talk about that later.
And but everybody else's performance, you can just tell that they're talking, but he never shot the sound and recut. But for some reason, it just feels really natural of a guy. Like we meet him, and he's kind of average dude. He's dating, he's hanging out with his friends. He gets a little butthurt when his friend busts his balls about his mom being too religious. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a real kind of down to earth kind of guy. And then when things start going fucking left, he just automatically inhabits that he can't stop this. He's not even trying to fight it. Like you can hear it in the voiceover with the therapist that he's like, oh, I was trying but in reality he wasn't really trying anything. He was just listening to whatever this thing wanted him to do and kill.
Yep, and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than, I think there was one guy that I thought was so fucking over the top. The dude he works with the shitty fucking afro, and it looked like a goddamn pimp, like a white pimp.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, that was the only character in the entire movie where I'm kind of like, okay, you're trying a little too hard with this one. But the rest of them, yeah, I gotta agree, for this kind of movie I thought the mom, even though she was super annoying, also just as good as the dude was in this. For what there was another character, and maybe I should save this for later. The priest character.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they doing with this priest character? Let's save that. That's foreshadowing.
Right.
We're gonna be getting back to that. Next good I got of this movie is that and maybe this is a joke one, but stars Astro Radio Z alumnus Scott Davis. He's a star. No, actually, it doesn't. It's just some guy named Scott Davis. That got to pop out of me when it came on the screen and said Scott Davis. I'm like, oh, I gotta give a little shout out to my boy out there. He'll be hearing this. Yeah. But real good is that the sound, because there was 8mm doesn't have sync sound. You can't do it. It's so the sound doesn't suck. It's not mixed well, but at least you can hear everything that's going on with the Foley, with the score, which is tinky tanky little like Casio keyboard type.
That's if I'd have to put something in the light, I really like the score. I think the score works for what it is. I think it's fun and kind of like it's that goofy kind of like video
very shot on video score. Yeah.
So it works to its detriment, but I think it's a fun sound, a fun score to the film. kind of works with the whole thing.
It's definitely one of those scores that reminded me of a lot of the shot on video, like Tim Ritter stuff. Like it really reminded me. There was something about that era that whatever keyboards they were using,
or like Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic score.
Well, the Chester Turner stuff that was recorded so poorly.
Yeah, but the thing is, those, like, you hear something from those scores and you automatically, like in me anyway, it automatically brings me back
absolutely.
to just a picture of that fucking dummy sitting there smiling, like it's a fuck, okay. That gives me a nightmare instantaneously. Yeah.
There's a real charm to that stuff that I don't know if new audiences would really feel that charm the way those of us that grew up on this stuff kind of, maybe it's nostalgia, whatever. But every time I hear a score like that in one of these movies, I instantly feel at home. Right. Like, oh, this is right. There's something grimy about this. I kind of fucking love how 10 cent this is right now. It's perfect. But yeah, the sound. So, I mean, we could talk about it. Obviously, that it's not mixed the greatest because it was all recorded. And I don't know how they did this in post. It's really intricate, and this goes into my next good is that this is a really well edited movie, so the sound works, but it's weirdly mixed, so there's a little off put there, but it's actually outside of, as we had discussed, the weird decision to have a highlight reel start the fucking movie with all of the good gore bits put into the beginning. I understand why it's there. Yeah. I understand what they were trying to accomplish with it, with like some weird nightmarish like dream that he's constantly going through over and over and over again. But the thing that sucks about that is nothing in the rest of the movie comes as a shock because you've already seen it. So it ruins literally everything.
That's what I keep saying is, like, if it just started with the voiceover of him and the therapist and him waking up from the nightmare, just a nightmare in general, just like waking up out of just pure sweat. And it's like, okay, this is gonna be cool. But like I said, it definitely feels like it's a filler. Like one, it's made to kind of get the guys who picked it up because of the fucking box. Because that artwork is just fantastic. And then you plug it in and the thing starts and you're just getting, segment after segment of him waking up and another scene, him waking up, another scene, him waking up. And it's like, as a kid, I remember seeing this going, oh, what the fuck is it? Like, what is going to happen? Yeah. And then when they happen, you're like, that's cool. But it's like, also like, I kind of saw the best part. Like, I kind of saw the best part of this during the first, 5 minutes of the film, and that kind of like, it's cool to, like, nowadays, like, I can watch it and be kind of appreciative of what they did, like, with like little to no money. If I had an option to make a fan film and be just, let's cut out that first 5 minutes, like right when he wakes up the very first time, and then start it from there and just let it go. And it works. Yeah, you lose like, what, you're gonna be like 83 minutes. Like, oh my god.
I personally feel like when my editor brain turns on watching that, with that in there, that if you're gonna do that, let's make the movie a little more non-linear. Let's start fucking with time, which they kind of do, but not enough, because there's a big swath of this that is very linear. And while I felt the pace was really good, I think mixing it up a little more would have worked with that intro. I think they just they blew their load at the beginning, and they could have done more of that stylistically throughout the film than they just did. So it's just a weird, but having said that, the editing is really tight. The Foley is really well done. The VO, it is what it is, but overall, this, for an 8mm movie, this is an insanely ambitious picture.
Sure.
Which you don't see very often with this kind of low budget shit. Do you got any more goods?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I think all I got left is I loved the contempt for religion on display, especially there, as we had talked about, the priest. There's a priest that literally just loves to shit with the door wide open. Like, there's an entire scene where the mom goes to visit the fucking priest that she's convinced is going to get rid of the tumor. And he's just in the bathroom. He's got a bathroom attached to his office. Yeah. Just grunting one out. Just fucking, you hear
fucking gnarly.
Foley of And he just
And it's funny. It's funny because this film was shot in Texas, and Texas is well known as a state that is heavily religious.
yeah.
You know, so it's kind of fun to see somebody kind of take the piss out of like the preacher man kind of televangelist bullshit that was going on in the mid to late '80s, like at its height. And like yeah, that scene, and then like when she goes back, she gives him the $200, for helping her get rid of the tumor. And he goes, $200 for a tumor. It's like $1,000 for an exorcism. And he's all fucking excited about it and shit. And you're like, what a piece of fucking garbage you are. It's like,
That's why you gotta love that the fact that he died by shitting. The monster gets him on the fucking toilet.
It's so weird.
So, anyways, the last good I got is that the whole kitchen area, which is a big part of this movie, that whole thing, there were multiple kind of other shot on video or shot on 8mm low 16 films that reminded, like, this definitely took from, or just like something was in the air because it felt very Things.
Yeah.
Very Things. Yeah, big time with some of that stuff. And it just like,
well, especially the fact that like in that film there's fucking all the parasites are just paper mache puppets.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I loved it. All right, let's get to the bads.
What is bad?
A big thing I'm not super keen on, and I understand from a practical aspect to tell this story, is the VO. I don't like movies typically told to us via VO, especially because a lot of the VO in this movie is literally just the guy describing what's happening on screen. And that to me is entirely pointless. Like, what are we doing here? You're like adding no information other than just feeling like the voice is helping the pace not feel so dull. What'd you think of the VO in this?
Because what I don't like about the VO truly is like the end of the film. When you find out who this person actually is that he's talking to, like I think the film would work really well without the VO. Like just the introduction, just give us the VO over the top as he's like, and then we go into the explanation of like all the events of the film. But then when you get to the end of the film, and this is a spoiler if you've never seen it.
This is a warning. Thank you.
As the credits roll, he's our character in the film has been killed. By one of his victims who he was trying to kill. He was trying to kill them, and he gets killed by being pretty much slammed in the chest with a fucking pitchfork.
Great fucking scene. Great scene.
And the fact that his guts rip open and he's got the fucking monster in there, and it's like, the monster that's living in him has actually finally come out, and it's this whole madness. And as the credits roll, he's still alive, and he's explaining to him like, oh, this is the abomination. And it's not a therapist, it's a cop who he's sitting in the fucking, the interrogation room arguing with him at the end of the film. It's like, well, you just made all this up. You caused all these murders. And it's like, and he's completely taken in the back. Like, oh no, it's like even your death is just a way for you to, get past the fact that you actually caused all these murders. And it's such a convoluted way to end the film.
It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. It works and it doesn't work.
It wanted to be too cute. It was just getting too cute. I think it should have just fucking ended. When I was getting toward the ending, because it's been so long since I've seen this movie, I'm like, what the fuck happened to VO? And then when the credits hit, it starts all this nonsense. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It kind of disappears near the last salvo of the film, the last 20 minutes. It kind of maybe the last half hour, it disappears completely. And as he's dead and the monster is kind of pulled through him, and he's trying, the house is fucking going wild. It starts to, it starts to back up again and it starts to explain itself to what the hell happened. And you're because it would have been cooler if he just got killed and the monster, that whatever was left of the monster, happens to him, it just starts spitting out and starts trying to attack whatever it can. And ultimately not being able to do it. It's just kind of dying there because its host has been destroyed. That would have been much cooler. So it's the VO kind of just does kind of a problem with it. It's fun at times because it helps push the story along.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not against that, But like you said earlier, I think it was something that he in the editing process, he's like, I gotta add something here. Like there's something I need to add.
That's what it felt like.
And probably
Absolutely.
while he was doing all the VO, because like we talked about, there was no sync sound when he shot it, that he had to dub everybody over. So he's just like, oh, I'll add this kind of conversation piece with our main lead, and we will hold out on who the person is until the very end of it, because it kind of works at the beginning when he's talking to them about his mother and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, this is a therapist, even though this is very, very fucking rare to have a person going to therapy in 1988.
Right.
Especially
Is
a
this
guy.
real?
Yeah, it's like it that works at the start of it, and like if it just kind of progressively left, or we were introduced to that character and he got killed by the monster, that would be fantastic. But like we don't, that those two, that voice is just a voice in the background, so it does kind of hinder the film a little bit for me.
Again, messy from just a purely storytelling standpoint. It feels like an element that just in the editing process didn't need to be there. It just muddied the entire movie, because I think there is some atmosphere in this movie, and the voiceover just kind of strips that atmosphere away. What is your first bad, if you got any?
There's not really any bad to it. I think because some of the performances are hindered by the voiceover, by the dub. Especially like the scenes when we see him out with his girlfriend and his friends. Yeah. And it's like, I really wish, and I understand why he didn't shoot it with sync sound, because especially if he's shooting it outdoors and stuff like that. And this is probably, it's a smart thing about it, because a lot of those films are shot with like either sound through the camcorder, or they did boom mic sound, but it just was so badly recorded that you have everything going on.
Yeah,
you can hear everything, so it works to the fact that it's this kind of, very dull,
controlled audio, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about that is that all of the voices that they get to overdub really nail it. Like
they work. Yeah,
there's none of the whole like Hong Kong when they overdub that shit for American audiences where the lips don't match up at all. Like. Sure. It is all believable. The thing that throws it off is that it's just mixed too high. Like if it was mixed a little more normally, I don't know if you would have really noticed as much.
Mm-hmm. No, there's not really many other bads besides those two little things.
The only bad I have, other than just repeating scenes in the movie, which we had already talked about, was the mother's death is like 5 minutes of her screaming the same scream over and over again.
And they bring it back later in the film. Like he cuts scenes of that back into the film when you're like, why are we doing this again? And like, she is, and like, this is not even before she starts getting killed. Like once she's like in the kitchen and things start popping, like drawers started popping open on the shelf and the doors start opening, and she sees this fucking monster, and and I get it. I'd freak the fuck out too if I saw some fucking, big fucking red thing with humongous teeth, like wanting to eat me alive. And my son trying to cut me up in the bits. Yes. But like it's fucking insanely over the top. And I would have loved to like, because it's clear, the great thing about it is it's not like, the character isn't screaming when she's screaming. The whole time in the scene, the character is screaming. So the dub over is doing the same thing, but it's so intensely over the top. It's it's like, fuck.
What's going on here? All right, let's get to the what the fucks.
What the fuck is that?
What do you have for any what the fucks?
There's not really much, because what the fuck is the fact that like he's like a superhero when it comes to it.
Why do you think he's a superhero?
Because when he's normal and he's just hanging out with people, he's walking around normally. When he's killing people, he puts the sunglasses on and he goes around killing people with the sunglasses on. And you're like, it's like pretty much like a fucking Superman thing. He fucking Clark Kent wears the glasses. Everybody thinks he's Clark Kent. Once he takes them off, everybody sees him as Superman. It's the same, like exactly the opposite way. So it's like, why the fuck do we need that? He kills random people. Like there's a cemetery one where that's another, like, what the fuck? He chases this girl for like 10 minutes through the cemetery. And you're like, and he cannot catch up to her shit. And you're like, okay. Like you should have just gave up, and like she slips and falls, and then he's able to get the top on her, and you're like, okay. But like, yeah, those two things are like, what the fuck is that? Like,
dude, speaking of exactly what you're talking about, he has his shades on. There's a scene where after his first kill and he's brought the lady back to the house to shove under the bed to feed to the fucking abomination that he, stuffed underneath there. He's literally, he has not cleaned. He is just drenched in blood.
Yeah.
Walks out the door to talk to his mom, who's been banging on his door. Dude is covered. She doesn't bat an eye.
Nothing.
Like it doesn't say a damn word that he is just covered in fucking gore. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously, like, it's the Superman Clark Kent thing. You put sunglasses on, you know what?
And no
Can't
one
tell. No, there's no follow.
Yeah.
Nothing bad's going on. I don't know who this is. And also, the only other what the fuck I got, because we talked about a lot of them before, a big what the fuck was that opening section for me.
Yeah.
But there are so many shots of cats and horses in this fucking movie.
Yeah, like filler scenes of cats and horses. It's like, it is ridiculous. But like, I kind of, I don't know. I don't get the whole thing. Like, yeah, I don't get it. I was saying, I'm like trying to maybe like think in my head, like, oh, it's from Texas, so like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like the horses, yeah, but I don't know the abundance of cat shots.
Yeah, the shots where the cat's in the car or the truck with him, just crawling up on him. It's just used to pad out time, like constant. Like, to have cutaways to this horse that's grazing in the field outside of his house. Yeah. It adds fucking nothing. It's just there to like add a transitional element.
But the thing is, that stuff I would rather have than the opening sequence. I'd rather have like a random sequence of random shot, like a 2-second, maybe 40-second shot of a horse grazing in this guy's front yard, compared to like just being, okay, we're going to show you everything that's cool about the film.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Or like, yeah, just random fucking cats just roaming everywhere, and it's like, okay, it's like, and you like I've said this before, like I clearly think that he was told that a movie has to be 90 minutes. That's the one thing that like most first time directors are told, like you have to have a 90-minute film, and it's like I like the fact that it's kind of now it's up into the point like where we are now that a lot of directors don't adhere to that anymore, which is fantastic. If you got 70 minutes of a film, fucking shoot the 70 minutes and just fucking put it out.
Yep.
And I think it's a good thing about this. What I love about this is that it is on under 90 minutes. That's the time period. Like 90 minutes and below is like the sweet spot of any fucking film. And I think for me, it's like 90 minutes and like the most is 100 minutes or 105 minutes. Like anything up to 2 hours is where you start getting really problematic for me.
Well, especially on micro budget stuff. To me, I've said this on Astro Radio Z for years. Yeah. The sweet spot for exploitation films, and I think Herschel Gordon Lewis got it down pat, was 50 to 70 minutes.
Sure.
Somewhere in that time range is perfect because a lot of these scripts don't have a lot of depth to them. Mm-hmm. They're just like, set up a conceit, let's fucking roll. Where a lot, and this happened a lot with shot on video films, where they thought they were making fucking Ben-Hur, for Christ's sake, or Lawrence of Arabia, and decided to make like 2.5, 3 hour long movies. It's like, did you fucking even edit this thing? Or is this just an assembly cut? What the fuck are we doing here? But no, I agree with you completely. Like when I see an exploitation film, especially one that's as low budget like this, if it's in that wheelhouse, it's like, okay, we're in. Yeah. Let's fucking do this. So that's it. That's all we got for the Abomination this episode of Worst Movies Ever. Vaughn, thank you again for coming on my podcast here. And what do you got? Are you going to chill anything? Is there anything going on? Do you want to talk about anything else, or are we good?
I think we're good. I mean, like if you want to listen to me talk about other stupid bullshit, I've been doing it for 18 years now. Sundry weirdo type films. You can always check that out at motionpicturemassacre.wordpress.com. I'm on every streaming service, but what is it? Spotify? Yeah, because they did anyhow. So we kind of left that.
I can't say anything about that. They're my podcast host for now.
Oh, I know.
So anyways, folks, I can't tell you what the next episode's going to be because I don't fucking know. You'll just have to wait probably half a year to find out. Until then, adios. Have a good one, Vaughn. Thank you as always, brother.
Thank you, man. That was great.
Worst Movies Ever podcast is executive produced by Vaughn Koolmeyer and Shannon Smith. For more Worst Movies Ever, and to make the Doctor watch your worst movies ever, subscribe to the Worst Movies Ever Patreon at patreon.com/Worst Movies Ever. There you will get a monthly exclusive WME podcast plucked from the user-generated film list, randomized episode to episode. Until next time, celebrate trash at all costs. Toodles.